All right, Ron.
All right.
How are we starting off on with
Good
the
morning. Good morning. So just so everyone who doesn't know what we're already doing here knows what we're doing, we read the Bible every Sunday morning for about an hour. And as we do that, we just try to get in on what Jesus is saying here and apply it to our lives. And hopefully this is beneficial to all of us. Mary, do you know where we are actually? Is it
Yes, it's Mark 12 on verse 35.
perfect?
Whose son is the Christ?
how about the Our Father to start?
Yes. Yeah, we'll do that. That's
All right. You want me
did
to
you
do?
say 35, Mary? Yes, I see
Yeah.
it. Okay, so let's
You
lead
ready?
it all together. Our Father. Go ahead, Dad.
Our Father,
Father,
who art in
Art in
heaven,
heaven,
hallowed be
hallowed be
thy
thy
name,
name.
thy kingdom.
Thy kingdom come.
come,
Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
This day our
Give
daily
us this
bread,
day our daily bread,
as
and
we
forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
but
And lead us not into temptation,
the
but
kingdom,
deliver us from evil.
evil, for thine is the kingdom,
Kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
forever.
Amen.
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 How about we do one Hail Mary? You want me to do that one too?
Yeah, we can do a Hail Mary too, and then we'll
You ready? Okay. Hail Mary, full
Mary,
of grace.
grace,
The Lord is with thee.
blessed
Blessed art thou
thou
among men,
blessed is the
and
fruit
blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary,
Holy Mary, Mother of
pray for us
God,
sinners,
pray for our sinners now and the hour of our death. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Give
Amen.
one to Mary. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
All right. So let's get to reading. Mary, would you lead us off? Because you told us where we were.
Sure. You're in Mark 12, verse 35. Whose son is the Christ?
That's it.
While Jesus was teaching in the temple courts, he asked, how is it that the teachers of the law say that the Christ is often the son of David? David himself, speaking by the Holy Spirit, declared, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. David himself calls him Lord. How then can he be his son? The large crowd listened to him with delight. As he taught, Jesus said, watch out for teachers of the law. They like to walk around in flowing robes and be greeted in the marketplaces and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses and for a show make lengthy prayers. Such men will be punished most severely.
Okay. So
You
there's
know what that's saying, right? It's talking about everybody, pastors and whoever's preaching, and a lot of times they're not really they're living a luxury preaching. They're not really, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
no.
You
I
could,
think that's about right. A
it
lot of
goes it goes for even pastors today
yeah.
You're
on
taking
TV.
advantage of their position.
Right, right, right.
That's right.
Basically,
And that's that's something actually we could even get to in our own small little preaching circle. We could we have to watch that, especially when people start respecting you and showing you respect and admiration and things like that. You have to be important that your preaching uh, strays away from God and more about you. And that's like a huge, and that's kind of what the Pharisees did, right? It was all again about their own ego and their own power and their own position. It was said they have like having the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. They become attached to that kind of worldly position.
the
Uh,
Lord gets angry with that. He
of
doesn't
course.
like that.
Yeah, of
He
course.
doesn't like that. No.
But before that, Jesus was saying though, he was quoting David saying, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. And Jesus, they were saying Jesus is the son of David. Some people were saying this. But Jesus says David himself calls him Lord. How then can he be his son? So Jesus is letting the people know that he is, even though he might come in the lineage of David, right, in the earthly lineage of David, he is, in his true spiritual identity, where he's coming from, because he's coming from above, right? It's been established that he's not taking birth as an ordinary being in this world. He's a being from above. He's like the Son of God coming down. So he's far above David's son. David himself is calling him Lord. And you see this in other, I always bring things a lot back to the Krishna story. Even when Krishna came in a family, but even his own family members knew that he was from above them. They were almost sometimes ashamed to call him my son, because he was coming from above. So this is kind of the same principle here. But let's keep going. Any questions, anything going on, you guys?
Mm,
Now, you want to keep moving? We can keep moving.
Yeah, Dad, you want to read the last paragraph here, the widow's offering?
Yeah, okay. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciple to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she out of her poverty put in everything, all she had to live on."
That's big.
Basically, it's saying that the poor woman that only put in a few pennies gave it all she had. That's all she had, and that's what she gave, and her trust in Jesus, in the Lord, and the people that given them, all that money, is just showing their wealth. A lot of them.
Yeah. Seems like the Lord, he's playing like he likes the percentage, like what's the percentage of what you're giving, so like, even in the Christian church, right, they recommend a 10% tithe. I've seen in even other bhakti traditions, they recommend a 50% tithe of all your earnings. That's a heavy one. But there's, they want to see how much you're giving to God. Like if you're a millionaire and you're giving, say $1,000 donation, what is that to you? That's like $10 to like.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So he wants to see, and he's saying this poor widow has
He
given
wants you to give
more.
him everything. He wants it
Yeah.
all. That's all you have. He wants you to give him that.
Yeah. And he won't leave you. It's not like, he's want to make you impoverished. He won't leave you lying there in need. You'll always have, it's been established before in our Matthew readings, you'll always have everything you need. But he wants to see your level of surrender, your level of sacrificing. And, for those who actually do sacrifice everything, like this poor woman, they receive the highest blessings, but, if you're only willing to give a little bit to the Lord, he's going to respond. He's going to only give a little bit of his mercy to you. That's,
well, it's called kingdom stewardship, Ron. He owns everything.
That's right.
He wants you to give it. Really, he wants everything. You know what I'm saying? He owns everything. He owns it.
Absolutely.
Basically.
And that's actually, that's very important. Actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that one who doesn't like offer back their sacrifices to God, you're called a thief. Because what my dad just said, stewardship, the Lord has given you everything. And if you're not willing to give it back to the Lord because it's his already, you're just borrowing it, then you're a thief. Right. You're just taking which is yours. Like even your own body, you have stewardship over it, but the Lord gave you that body.
Gave you that body. Yep.
That's right. Yep. So there's no, give everything. Ultimately, Jesus is glorifying this woman who gave everything she had to the Lord, and we can do the same thing. And not to say like, yeah, we should go live on the streets. That's not the message here. The message is use every little bit of wealth and what's under your dominion, under your stewardship for God. Like, in the bhakti traditions, they even say, turn your temple into a home. Or turn your home into a temple. Your home into a temple. Thank you, Don. So everything you have, use it for worshiping the Lord. You know, if you have a, like, even right now, like, look what we have friendships together. What is the one thing we're doing with our friendship? We're learning about the Lord together. And that's, you know, we're using our time for the Lord. There's a
That's what he
lot of
wants. That's
ways.
what he wants.
Exactly. You know, and like my dad, he watches TV, right? He watches TV for the Lord. You know, he's got the Christian stations on, you know, so everything you have, utilize it for the Lord. You like music, listen to godly music, listen to things that are uplifting and spiritual. You know, that's, you know, so there's so many ways we can utilize everything that we're given for the Lord. You know, you like hiking, appreciate the beauty and understand this is God's glory right here. You know, there's so many things. um but any comments or questions before we keep reading?
Just to comment that I liked the perspective you said of it all comes from him, so to not hoard it and keep it and, share it back,
That's right.
return it back.
That's right. If you could help somebody, you help somebody. You know, I got a little testimony for you. I'm
Sure.
not going to go long. Um, uh, uh, my son Tom's car got hit in the parking lot at Belvedere High School, and he had told me, a tow truck driver hit my car. I says, well, okay, get a police report and yada yada. But it all comes down. He was a Christian, and we knew him, Dave Novak. And he's from and Hope. This man, I didn't write up any police report on him. I did nothing. I says, just give me his number. I'll work it out with him. He's I know, you know how Christians, my example is as Christians fellowshipping with one another, how you could help one another. And that man took this car, he taped the window. In a week's time, he had a brand new door on his car, okay, fixed the car, and left him a $50 bill on top of his dashboard. Okay. And you know what? That's from the Lord. And he just sent me a message and said I could do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. So that's where the spiritual connection is. And not only did he just fix his car and it didn't cost anybody's insurance company anything, but he fixed his car and left the kid a $50 bill on his dashboard. And I think that's pretty nice for him to do that because he didn't have to do that. And that's where the
Also, if he didn't
Christianity
get,
comes in. Go
if
ahead.
it wasn't his company, he also wasn't getting in trouble with the company.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
that could have gone against his record with them for his work. It happened with me too. A garbage truck actually hit my car coming around a turn. He was just way over and took off my mirror and took out the side panel on the back of my car. I mean, I thought I was going to die, first of all, but I just said, let's just work it out between us because I don't want you to get in trouble. And, if you can handle this on your own, then let's just do that. I don't want it on my insurance either.
It's Christians helping one another. It's fellows. That's where the fellowship comes in. And
Well,
I know Dave a long
helping
time. He
one another.
invited me to his church. I mean, so it's all good. If we want to keep moving, we'll get off the subject.
No, it's good. Don, you were saying one more thing?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know what his religion was, but I felt for his soul and his life, and he returned that by doing the right thing.
Amen. It all works out.
He may have been Christian, and I certainly have that background, but I don't mind if he was Muslim, whatever he might have been. We
all have to pray for one
each other. We respected each other.
It's all good.
That actually comes to like a biblical teaching. Jesus actually, we read it in Matthew. He recommends resolving all of your issues with your brothers, and he says do it before the courts because the courts will take everything you have.
Right.
Yes.
So,
and you'll be paying a lawyer too.
Insurance companies, everything.
Right.
Yep.
So
it all worked out. It all worked out. It was great.
That's the way to do it. So I think that's a really good fitting testimony.
Yep.
So let's.
You want to keep reading?
Yeah. Let's get back to the reading.
The title of the next reading is going to be I don't know. It's the signs of the end of the age.
Yes.
Should be interesting.
the destruction of the temple and the signs of the end times. Dawn, would you read for us?
Sure. As Jesus was leaving the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what massive stones, what magnificent buildings." "Do you see all these great buildings?" replied Jesus. "Not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down." As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that they are all about to be fulfilled?" Jesus said to them, "Watch out that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and will deceive many. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are the beginning of birth pains. You must be on your guard. You will be handed over to the local councils and flogged in the synagogues. On account of me, you will stand before governors and kings as witnesses to them. And the gospel must first be preached to all nations. Whenever you are arrested and brought to trial, do not worry beforehand about what to say. Just say whatever is given you at the time, for it is not you speaking, but the Holy Spirit. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel against their parents and have them put to death. Everyone will hate you because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. When you see the abomination that causes desolation standing where it does not belong, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop go down or enter the house to take anything out. Let no one in the field go back to their cloak. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that this will not take place in winter, because those will be days of distress unequaled from the beginning, when God created the world until now, and never to be equaled again. If the Lord had not cut short those days, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, whom he has chosen, he has shortened them. At that time, if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Messiah," or "Look, there he is," do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. So be on your guard. I have told you everything ahead of time. But in those days following that distress, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time, people will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory, and he will send his angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of the heavens. Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see these things happening, you know that it is near, right at the door. Truly, I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away.
Good job, Dawn.
Wow.
Good job. You need a drink of water.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was
That was a
Actually,
long
you know
one.
what that is? That's part of the book of Revelations you're reading, the end times. When he comes, he's basically
Yes.
telling you what's going to happen. And it was really a long, I don't know. Ron, do you want to do?
That's a lot. No, it's it's foreshadowing the book of Revelations, what's to be
Yeah.
told in the Revelations. But there's a lot of stuff here, talking about wars and rumors of wars. One thing I thought was interesting, I said talking about earthquakes in various places and famines.
Yeah.
That these are the beginning of birth pains. And interestingly enough, what's going to be birthed out of this? If these are like the birth pains, it's talking about the new kingdom.
Right.
And interestingly enough, also because I like to tie it back to what have other religions also talked about. they've also talked about an end times. And what happens is, it's interestingly, Jesus will, when we get to the book of Revelations, many, maybe even years down the road, because we get a lot of Bible.
You don't know when it's going to be.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, it won't be evident to man when it's to come. He'll tell you of the signs, but these signs, just like the fig tree, will be like, all right, it's coming. You better, have your act together and have devoted your life to God by that point. But but interestingly enough, in Revelations, it talks about Jesus coming down on a white horse with a sword. And he won't come in peace at that point. He'll come to annihilate the wicked at that point, and then judge the men of the earth, and the women too. And ultimately they'll weed out the bad from the good, and the good will come to a new kingdom, and the bad will be kicked out, and they'll many say they'll go down to hell or Sheol, or they're going to go to places where it's not so pleasant, and a new kingdom will be born that will give like a golden age. So I think that's what he's alluding to with the birth pains, is this birth of, just like, when you have a birth of a child, the mother's not happy doing it. It's like, oh, it hurts, and it's like really painful. But when it does come out, like, wow, look what was born, this beautiful child. So
Right.
similarly, this calamity that the Revelations is talking about, this is what's going to birth. Oh, my dad, did you raise your hand?
No, I didn't. Who
Oh,
said
you-
me raise my hand?
It says you're, or
Guess my
was that
finger got
Allie?
in the way or something.
Might have been, okay, Allie's raising her hand. Okay, I got it.
Oh,
So it's talking about the the birth of something much better to come, the kingdom of God. But let's hear what Allie has to say. But she's making pancakes for us all, so she's wonderful like
Nice.
that. And Santi, well, Santi's here. Let's welcome
Hello,
Santi.
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 Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Santi, where are
Good
you,
morning.
Santi?
Good morning.
Hi.
I don't see you, Santi.
Okay.
Down the
Let's-
bottom.
Let's give it to Allie though, for Allie's wonderful question here. I'm sure.
All right,
Or
Allie.
comment.
Waiting, Allie.
Can't hear you, Allie.
Yeah, no.
Are you muted?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Am I echoing? I just wanted to say that the birth pains thing was interesting to me, because like he was saying all of these hints of what the end times will be like, but it's clear that it's like a buildup. Birth pains are 9 months long. It's not just like you have a baby and like you have birth pains at the end of having the baby. It's like there's signs that you're pregnant. There's birth pains like throughout, you're having different things happen to your body. And so like I feel like if we're like open and receptive and really tuned into what's going on around us, we'll be able to pick up on the closer we get to it. I think like you're seeing now, there's a lot of like unrest, and there's a lot of different things going on. I'm not saying it's the end times, but it's just like it's clear like we're getting closer and closer. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
government's a mess, and the
No
people
doubt.
are all like depressed, and everyone's like not connected to God. Like God right now is like a scary thing to talk to people about because they're so close-minded to it. So I think it's just like actually in this epic poem called the Mahabharata, it's so long. It's like 5,000 years old, but they talk about omens a lot. Like they were in tune with nature around them, where they were like the omens, like, there's like, they would say asses braying, which are the donkeys were like yelling, and then there'd be like crows flying, and they had these omens. And we still have those kinds of things. We're just not so tuned in to pay attention to them. But if you start to notice, you'll be like, oh, okay. Like, you look outside and there's a cardinal going by and it's beautiful and that's like peaceful. But then you look outside and there's a bunch of crows like yelling. And so I just think it's like interesting that you can just tell, be really observant, and it will help you to pay attention to what's going on, and to kind of be ready for like things that might be coming upon or you might be going into. And I think that's what he's hinting at here with like the birth pain.
Preparing us right now. We're being prepared.
Yeah.
We're being prepared for these end times. We don't know if it is the end times, but we're getting slowly. It's the beginning of the end time. So
Yeah.
it isn't going to get any better. If it's not going to be the COVID, it's going to be now the division between different things. And, there's division. When the division continues, that he's trying to divide the church. He's trying to divide. The enemy is trying to divide people. And if he can divide people, it won't bring people together to be part of the Trinity. and
Yeah.
and that's what he wants. He wants to tear. It's John 10:10 says the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to destroy, kill the mind, kill our joy. He's trying to do everything like that to knock us out of the word.
Yeah.
Then he says, I have come that I have given you life and given you life more abundantly. That's the second part of John 10:10. If you open up John 10:10. But that's what it is. He's trying to strip us. He's trying to tear us apart. He's trying to tear our country apart, the world apart.
Yeah.
And we have to focus on him. We got to seek his kingdom first,
Yeah.
and the rest shall be added.
And it's interesting because it's actually all part of a grander, like it's Jesus was talking about, it's all birth pains, like these nations rising against nations, kingdom against kingdom. And it said to the people of Judea, which interestingly now, I don't know if follow like world political stuff. Israel is one of the hot spots right now of the world. If you look at like World War II, what happened, they came in and took this Israel back from Palestinian rule for thousands of years. And now it's like on all sides, people are trying to, fight Israel or trying to recapture Israel. So it's causing a lot of tension over there. So this
So
is especially
there's
talking
God's
about
chosen people,
Israel.
Ron.
Yeah.
They're God's chosen people.
Well, that
And,
is the Jewish, they have their system, and even Jesus came in the Essenian Jews in that area as well. So that definitely there's that aspect, that they are chosen from God to some degree. Good morning, Aunt.
Well, maybe they were
Um,
chosen for their purpose at the time, for what they had to accomplish at the time.
Yeah.
That was their basis then.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily they're the only good ones anymore or anything.
No, but they were chosen. They were chosen, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had had a job to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've also heard things as, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I've heard like the root of the word like Jewish, comes from a word that stems from a meditator or one deep in prayer. And so it might be, I don't think it's just like, oh, unless you were like born Jewish, or I don't think
no,
it's anything to do with that. Anyone who's taken to this path of prayer and meditation and service to God, you're a chosen person. I feel like
Yeah.
every one of you
No.
are chosen people in this group.
You got German Jews, you got Polish Jews, you got
But
Russian Jews.
not even just Jewish people. Like they were
Right.
chosen at, like I think Dawn said, at that time they were chosen. And you could even argue now that they might come under the guise or of a Christian person is chosen. And I know me and Ali strongly believe that people devoted to Krishna are chosen by God. Like I believe that God has his chosen people, and they might, you could call them a Jew, you can call them a spiritual person, but God has his legion, he's even talking about but for the sake of the elect whom he has chosen, if the Lord had not cut those days, no one would survive. Cut short those days, but for the sake of the elect whom he has chosen, he has shortened them. At that time, if anyone says to you, look, here is the Messiah, look, there he is, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. So be on your guard. I have told you everything ahead of time. And then the last part that's really interesting, it's, this one really is interesting because it sounds like a solar eclipse to me. The sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. And then so the stars will fall from the sky and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Now, I'm not sure. Let's see what that little C says there. Oh, it's from Isaiah 13:10 and 34:4, these two verses that Jesus is quoting. I did not want to download that. So yeah, we have to, we'll see a sign. And actually, if you do happen to see a solar eclipse, it's said, like Ali was talking about omens, it's said to be a very, it's a sign that something is big is about to happen. And I don't know if you guys remember we had that solar eclipse going across the United States.
Yeah, you were down south,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, actually, interestingly enough, I went and traveled. I didn't know it at the time, but that's like the last thing you want to do. You don't want to see the solar eclipse. If you see a solar eclipse, something big is coming for the people in that area, something rough.
Yes.
And so that's, we went down to like the depths of South Carolina and into Georgia. And actually, you see now, I'm actually going to move down there. Something might happen. That happened a few years back, but something might have happened in that area that was really big. So anyway, these are the signs that will be given for the end times. I don't think we're there yet, but I think, Ali was
No,
saying,
not yet.
the
But you don't
pains are
know. You
coming.
don't really know.
Yeah,
You don't know when he's coming. Could be
Yeah.
tomorrow.
this
You don't know.
pains are coming.
Yeah.
Want to ask one thing
Sure.
before you go up, down there, right there. This generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. That generation was like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
What, I don't understand what that means.
No, that's a good point right there. Mary, do you have anything on that?
The generation, like even now, it means like even going forward in the future.
Yeah. Heaven and earth are still here, but here it says heaven and earth will pass away. So they're talking from then to now.
Well, Mary, finish your thoughts. I'm interested in what you.
I'm not good at explaining. I know what it means. It's basically the scripture that says the word will be preached in all the inhabitant earth for all to know, and then the end will come. That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
So the
They're not telling you when.
would
When
be,
it says, I tell you the truth, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. It's
maybe the generation of people, like all people until,
the
like,
word will be
a
preached. in the
generation doesn't mean like what we mean a generation, like from me to
Yeah,
my
it's different.
son.
It's different. Yes.
The
Yeah.
generation of all, everything that happens
Yeah,
in
maybe even humanity in as a whole,
general. Yeah.
Right.
But
But
no, that's a good point. And I wonder actually too, because we're seeing an English translation of this, and actually
Right.
see this all over the Bible. When you look at the original Greek and then you actually take that back to the original Aramaic, things have been changed. And maybe even unintentionally changed, because they're just trying to do their best to translate it. And sometimes the words don't always line up from language to
Right.
language exactly.
Okay.
So this could be one of those cases, but I think that's actually an interesting thing we could all actually research. And maybe we can get back to it on another time, but that's definitely a really good noteworthy point there,
I
Dawn.
think it's a good thing to research, definitely, so it's clearer for everybody.
Yeah.
And to do a little further, homework on our own.
Yeah.
Since
the day and hour is not known.
You want me to read it, Ron? Or you want to
Oh,
read
I
it,
would
Ron?
love to hear Santi read, if possible.
All right. Let's go, Santi. Where is she?
He's here.
Hi. All right.
Where
the
are you,
day-
Santi?
Hello. The day and hour unknown. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Be on guard, be alert. You do not know when that time will come. It's like a man going away. He leaves his house and puts his servants in charge, each with their assigned task, and tells the one at the door to keep watch. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know when the owner of the house will come back, whether in the evening, or at midnight, or when the rooster crows, or at dawn. If he comes suddenly, do not let him find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to everyone, watch.
Beautiful. That means always be on your, he said it, be on your guard, be alert. Because it's, if it comes to that time and you're not prepared, you're like, oh, well,
Yes.
I'll just wait till the end, and then I'll get good with God then. He's not going to know. It said in other places that it comes like a thief in the night. You're not going to know when it's going to happen. You have to always be
Always be ready
prepared.
for him.
Always
Always.
be ready for this. And that's, we have to make our right Our lives.
You're gonna
right
see
right now.
cars on Route 80 with nobody in them, crashing into the trees with nobody in the driver's seat.
Maybe.
In the rapture,
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. It's right. Yep,
We don't
absolutely
know.
not.
Route 80 might be long gone by that time.
Yeah, right. We don't know.
Allie actually had I think she raised her hand again. I think she's with my mom. I don't know if she's gonna. Are you? No, you didn't
No.
raise your hand, Allie. Okay. All right. So I think we're gonna keep moving. And Santi, that was really short, so I might ask you to read again, and then before we get back to Mary. But now we're on 14. I like that we're being committed to read more. We actually have been talking more for everyone else. By the way, Santi, we're recording this, so you could just so you know, we're gonna maybe
You
be
don't
able
have to put
do-
any makeup on. Don't worry about it. You're good. That's all right.
He
You're
looks
good.
lovely without makeup and with makeup, so it doesn't matter. Jesus anointed at Bethany. Yeah, let's go Santi
Okay.
again.
Jesus anointed at Bethany. Now the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread were only 2 days away, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were scheming to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or the people may riot. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar
Yeah.
of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor." And they rebuked her harshly. "Leave her alone," said Jesus. "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them anytime you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured the perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." Then Judas Iscariot, thank you, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray.
We lost you, Santi.
Yeah, we lost her.
Went to the
Sorry,
chief priest to betray. And
Yeah,
then,
okay, went to the chief priests to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted to hear this and promised to give him money. So he watched for an opportunity to hand him over.
rascal Judas.
Oh yeah.
So this is good.
He wanted
Yeah.
that silver or gold, right? Didn't they give him gold?
Yeah, I
Juice?
think silver. He just took silver for that. Which is
Yeah. Boy,
not
he
good.
got thrown off, huh?
Yeah,
Oh boy.
that's the danger of money. Interestingly enough, he was the one holding the money for them. And apparently he would use that money also for his own uses as well. But that's the very, very risky to handle money. And we could be a lesson for all of us. We have to watch how we handle money, and we have to, be honest with ourselves, because the Lord's always watching. How are we using our money? Am I using it for godly purpose? Am I being stingy? Am I only willing to, share money for my own selfish reasons? There's so many. We have to understand what we're doing with our money, and are we using it in a proper way? I think it was interesting also, she did a wonderful thing for Christ. She poured this perfume on Christ, offered a very expensive thing to Christ. And then the disciples were like, how's that practical? You could have used that to feed the poor and things like that. And Jesus he's showing a higher teaching that actually, using, what to speak of Jesus, but using your money to help a godly cause or to help a godly person. He's like, you could help the poor anytime you want. You're not always going to have, like, especially Jesus, the fact that they were there with Jesus, what a special thing. But you're not always going to have that godly person a saintly person in your vicinity. So use what you have to help saintly people. But even above if you have Christ there, boom, but we don't always have Christ. But use your money and wealth that you have to glorify God and his God's specially chosen people, like a saintly type of person, or even it could be a church, or it could be a temple, it could be a place that's glorifying God above even the poor. So I think that's I think that was really interesting. But any quotes or comments about that? Questions even to the group?
No, just that the rest of what we'll be going into reading is the whole preparing him for his death and everything that's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
That's
it
right. Gets a bit gruesome from here, gang.
all right.
Anything from anyone? Santi? Muted again.
You muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you.
Okay. So can you bring it up just a little bit?
Sure. There.
I'm sorry, down. Yeah, thank you.
We didn't
yeah.
read this yet.
Oh, actually, no, not this.
We
Okay.
didn't read this. The
Okay.
Last Supper, we didn't read yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading this back in Sunday school when I was a little girl, and this one always stumped me. Because I was trying to understand, especially the part where it says, like, the poor you will always have, and you can help them at any time, but you will not always have me. So that part kind of always confused me as a child.
You grew up Catholic church?
No, I'm Greek, so Orthodox.
Oh, Greek Orthodox. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, it's basically the same. It's the same what you're reading. If you guys read out of the Bible, right?
yes.
Yes. Well, what was your
so you read
exactly,
King
Santi?
James?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't hear that.
Was it King James, Santi?
Yeah, I believe, yes, I believe so.
Yes, yeah, because it's these and thous, and
Yeah,
that's the version of the Bible. Yes.
And I remember having a children's Bible too. It was very simplified, and this part kind of always confused me. So where it says that the poor you'll always have with you, and you can help them at any time you want, but you won't always have me.
So you're asking like why you feel like they won't always have him? Like maybe you're thinking like, well, Jesus is in your heart. Is that kind of where it's coming from, kind of thing?
Yeah, just that specifically about the poor. But maybe I'm just looking too much into it.
I think the way I'm interpreting it is that he's letting the people know that he's here and he's preaching and he's teaching for them to follow and do the same. So that's why he is saying you will always have the poor. You can, what does he say? You can help them.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what he's getting at. Like, I'm here and I'm going to be leaving, but I remember why I came here, what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then also
he's preparing people.
Yeah. And he also
letting them know.
He revealed also the higher, and she might not have even known what she did, but he said, first of all, we shouldn't judge someone's service, like for instance, sometimes I remember when I first started going to the temple, they spend so much money on flowers, to offer God. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, why? Like, they could feed so many people with this money, why like so much to flowers to offer to God, and so many like decorations for like the deities of God and things like that. But it's interesting, we might not realize that there's a higher teaching there, and Jesus actually revealed to them that she poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. So it's clearly, she might not have even realized what she did. She just thought, this is expensive perfume. Here is like the Son of God. I want to offer this whole thing to him. And you might argue, well, like, the poor need food and things like that. But, no one's going to be talking about for thousands of years how you helped a poor man eat for one day. And, and that poor man might eat and then go out and buy drugs or go out and
Yeah.
do something else.
Mhm.
Of course.
But, but Jesus, you prepared Jesus for his burial. This is like a higher thing. And I think it was innocent. I don't think she was so calculative. She
Yeah.
just saw that she wanted to do that.
I-
But go ahead, Santi. to continue.
Sorry. I was just thinking, yeah, when you said that, like, there are a lot of poor people, and then also, like, I'm not exactly sure how most of the people viewed Jesus at this time, but being the Son of God, in a way, even though it looks like he has nothing, he has everything at the same time in spiritual truth. So it's like, to give to maybe, like, no good deed goes unnoticed, kind of, even if it seems like, why are you, like, he truly has all the power within, being the Son of God, but no good deed goes unnoticed. So it's kind of like, don't, like you said, like, don't judge the service that someone is doing, because even though we don't always understand it offhand, like, anything with good motives that you feel called to do is seen and recognized, and that's the right thing in that moment.
Yeah, I think essentially, but especially, who Jesus was, using what she had for Jesus's service, I think what he's recognizing is even above the poor. There's only so much, like, for instance, we went to the temple one time, and they gave us a free meal. And actually, me and Allie, what's one of the things we love going about the temple. But we were on our way home, and we see a guy, literally we're getting off the exit on the way home, and there's a guy with a sign like, need money, need food, need anything. And I said, we stopped the car, and I just said, Allie, take those meals. We got to give it to him, and we gave him that. And that's, there's time to, I don't know what happened in that poor man's life. Maybe something wonderful happened for him, but he's still going to be there, and he's still going to be struggling. And that was a small service of what we could have done. I mean, you could give, homeless people all kinds of money, right? But then a lot of times you have to watch. You don't know what they're going to use that money.
They're buying drugs with it.
Yeah, you got, so there's so many things, but if you give yourself to godly people who know how to use that money for God's services, maybe the godly people are feeding, like, for instance, when you donate to the temple, they teach the message of God, and then they feed people. So you're getting the feeding is there. You're still feeding the potentially poor. You're feeding everyone, but at the same time, you're giving people godly message. And I think that's Jesus was. I maybe I'm interpreting it, and maybe you guys can tell me if I am, but I'm interpreting it that what Jesus was doing was far more important than even helping the poor, and to to glorify that is far more important than even helping the poor. Not to say the poor should, the poor should be helped to every capacity that we can, but the ultimate thing is, Jesus is preaching this message is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So but maybe, I don't know, we can continue on that. Any other comments?
I think that Jesus is reminding, it's a reminder, to, it's bringing attention to what this woman did out of nowhere. And, like, it's an example as, pay attention and don't forget Jesus, and don't forget why he's here. Whereas they're questioning, why are you not, all that money in that jar of perfume could have been, given
Well,
to the poor people. But it's used as an example, of her appreciation for what Jesus is doing, and setting his example of what he wants to be taught.
well, he's giving us example today in 2021. So basically, what he did back then, that's for today.
Yeah.
To help one another, like Ron said, you gotta,
Yeah.
if you feel in your heart, you gotta pray a lot of times. If you feel, Lord, is this the right decision for me? If this man really needs money. And I remember I was in the Port Authority, and a lot of times I know, my spirit knows when somebody's just looking for drugs money and drug money, or because they don't want to, you offer them food, they don't want the food, then right away what they're looking for. And a few times I bought a guy a hot dog one time. I know hot dogs are or poison to Ron. I
You
know.
did your best.
But you know what? That hot dog wasn't poison to that guy because he ate it and he was hungry. So, thank you very much, and God bless you. God bless you. And he was very appreciative that I bought him a hot dog with a soda and some potato chips. So sometimes we need to do things for others, and you got to be able to recognize it. And you'll know, God will put the right people in your path. It's from God, but you'll know if it's not right. You'll know. He'll give you, the Holy Spirit will give you wisdom to recognize, if you're trusting in the Holy Spirit to be inside of you and be with Jesus. So, and he'll let you know.
Good. Yeah, that's all. It's all good. Use your connection to God to serve, and it's a message for us, like Jesus's disciples judged her service. Santi was kind of mentioning this. We shouldn't judge other people's service. However they're serving is good.
Right.
If we feel like we can serve in a better way, then we do it for ourselves in a better way. But don't judge their service. Appreciate their service. And you might feel like you need help from people in some way, but don't whatever way they are helping. And I've seen that, like, we have our little spiritual group every Friday, and everyone is has different ways of helping the group. And and instead of me asking, like, oh, could we can someone help me with cooking or things, I just noticed people like to help in whatever way they like to help. And it's so wonderful. Like, for instance, Dawn and Bill, they like to help us by actually providing us wood for our fire, which is so nice. Like, we ran out of wood, and then Bill's like, oh, we got to get them more wood, or I don't know what the process is that they were saying this, but there's so many people who have come to even help us. And I was and we're so appreciative of whoever helps in whatever capacity. Sometimes,
Ron, if you could bring me a couple logs over every time you come over, that'll help me out a little bit. We put 2 logs in the trunk. Usually it'll burn, and I'll have you start the fire. So,
well, I'm out of wood, Dad. I'm out of. I actually.
Yeah, the wood. You get all the wood you want. Anyway, Ron, I don't think we should start another chapter on the Last Supper.
I agree. I think we're on.
You only got 2 minutes, and it'll be over.
I actually want to do one thing before we go. I think this would be a nice way to end before we end our recording. Mary, if you could mark that spot for us, that would be great. I want to read one psalm at the end of each week, and then we'll get through
beautiful.
however many psalms we do that. And so why don't, I don't know if Allie's busy. Allie, you want
me to read it, Ron?
Let's see if Allie's busy.
Yeah, she's busy right now. If you want, I'll read it.
Go ahead, Dad. Read the one psalm.
All right, I'll sing Psalm 1. You ready, guys?
Yeah.
Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Not so the wicked. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore, the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction. It's a good psalm.
Beautiful.
It's the first psalm. Yeah, it is.
We are going to end the recording now. Thank you for joining us, whoever did join us for the recording.